It was the last Super Fours game of the 2025 Asia Cup, India versus Sri Lanka. Coming into the match, everyone was like, it's a dead rubber. Should we watch it? India should make lineups. But unequivocally, the best game of the tournament so far. You had a very high score set by India and a very good chase by Sri Lanka. We all know what happened at the end. In crazy, crazy super over. A lot to unwrap in this episode today.
Yes, welcome back to another episode of the In Between Overs podcast. For your host for the day's play, I'm Taran.
And I'm Ishaan.
Yes, best game of the tournament, hands down so far. Let's see if Sunday trumps that. I hope it does, but that was a fantastic game to watch. Some amazing batting performances from various players on both sides. So shout out Nisanka, that was 100 to savor. And I love the celebration too. And then some really interesting performances in the field, especially from India, which I'm sure we'll talk about. And then some decisions as well that raised some controversies. So, what were your thoughts on the game?
Yeah, no, very similar. Got to see some great batting performances, some big shots. It felt like the stadium was a lot smaller this match than it was in the previous matches. And yeah, India has made it a habit of messing up in the field the last few games. So we'll definitely look to unwrap that and see what the hell's going on there. But no, you gotta give the flowers to Sri Lanka. They played extremely well. They knew it was a dead rubber. They're pretty much out of the tournament. They had nothing to really lose or gain, but they put on a great show, great performance, and good, you know, about sort of how Sri Lankan cricket can carry on.
Yeah, before we keep diving into the game, I want to give a shout out to the fans. Like that felt like it was a final. The crowd was jam packed. The Indians, Sri Lankans were there, and it was an atmosphere.
Yeah, and hey, they got what they deserved, which was a game that
Yeah,
literally went down to the wire.
yeah, yeah, 100%. So unpacking the game, we'll start at the end. So
Yes,
that super over, before the super over, we had that final over. Harshit Rana's coming in. Nisanka's on strike. This guy's on 100 and looking good, looking like he could take Sri Lanka home with the way he was playing. Harshit Rana hasn't been having the best game. I think he was going for also 13s and over, and he was struggling. First ball, on middle stump. Nisanka middles it. This is looking like it's going for four. It goes straight into hands of, I think it was Akshar. No, it wasn't Akshar. It was
it was,
Varun. It was Varun Chakravarti. It was Varun Chakravarti who looked surprised, took a solid catch, and then that shifted that over. And then Harshit Rana, credit to him, was able to hold his nerve. And we get to the final ball. They now need three. Shanaka's on strike. Harshit Rana bowls which I believe is his fastest ball of the game at over 92 miles an hour. Shanaka mistimes the ball. It goes to, I forget who was at long gone. I forget who was at long gone. I think it might have been,
that might have been Akshar, I think.
it would have been Akshar. Okay,
That was
okay.
Akshar,
It
I
goes
believe.
to Akshar,
Yes.
who's one of the top fielders in the Indian team, if not the world right now, especially with T20s. Misfields the ball as Sri Lanka scamper for two and then throws it back. Harshit grabs the ball and tries to deflect on the stumps, and he misfields it. Meanwhile, Sri Lanka could have easily completed that third run, and we probably would have been talking about Sri Lanka winning this game.
Yeah. And I think a good way to summarize all of this is in the last ball, everyone was terrible on the field. Everyone, the
Oh my God.
runners, the bowlers at getting the ball, and even as you mentioned, Akshay Patel in the field. Everyone had a lapse of mind on the last ball. We know how pressure sometimes gets people. For example, why did he dive at the end? Just take a look at the ball. They could have probably easily ran three and won the match. But then again, pressure gets to you, and that's what cricket is. But hey, the fans got a super over, and I think this was the first super over of this tournament.
Yeah, it was the first super over of the tournament, and then when we entered the super over, Arshdeep Singh doing Arshdeep Singh things like he needs to be in this team. He's really good at the death or in
Uh,
pressure situations.
no, literally that. It seemed like he's been in the situation before, which he has, and literally hit balls at great lengths. A lot of them are Yorkers, a lot of them, wide balls. Sorry, a little too wide for the batsman to hit. But you know, he did look like he was struggling during the game, but during the super over, oh my gosh, it seemed like he had the ball on a string and he knew exactly where to ball and sort of how to hit it. But even during the stats super over as well, some interesting drama going on with was it out? Was it a run out? Oh, that was also
Yeah.
interesting, wasn't it, Tron?
Yeah, yeah, that was like I didn't even realize it, and then I was like, "Oh yeah, that's true." So the Arshdeep delivers the ball. Shanaka was trying to, I think, get it over third man, and he missed, and or ended up being a miss. Went through to Sanju, and Shanaka gets out of his crease looking to scamper a by, and Sanju throws on the stump. So when you're watching it, it's like, "Oh yeah, he's run out." And then all of a sudden you see the front umpire, the front facing umpire raise his finger, and generally it's square leg, right? So I thought,
Yes,
oh, maybe, it was that obvious. So he's raising his finger because it's obvious for anyone that he's out, right? Run out. And then you see Shanaka doing this to do a review. I'm like, what the hell is going on? You're out. And then and then so the front umpire was actually giving it out for the catch
because Arshdeep appealed.
because Arshdeep apparently appealed for it. So then the review was for the catch, and so since that was overturned because he clearly missed it, then it was considered a dead ball. Then anything after doesn't count. So the run out didn't count after, and so that was what I think India were appealing for after. And then thinking Sky was like, okay, let's review that. But that was a whole weird sort of nature of events that took place. But it comes back to, such as the laws of cricket. Sometimes we forget about those little things
Yes.
about what happens first, and then if this happens, then there's nothing after. Those happen so rare that you forget about. Oh yeah, that's how it should play out. But I feel at the end of the day that was the right decision
It was the right decision with the current law, but
with
I
the
think
current rules and laws. Yeah.
yes, but I think this is something they could potentially look at because, that could have been a big moment in terms of, the run out. You'd always see ICC looking at these rules at the end of the years. I could definitely see them look at this or look at the timing of, a review versus, an event that happened after the review. So I think it's something they could potentially look at because it could be it could really blow up if this was at a very, the finals or a very important time where a wicket was, basically needed.
To that point, I just remember something. So we've had situations where, let's say there's an LBW appealed for, right? Or no, sorry, let's say there's a catch appeal for where the bat's really close to the pad, right? And then the ball goes past the bat and the pad, and then the fielder catches it. Is the appeal for catch, and let's say the decision was for checking to see if it was out, caught. Okay, in that circumstance, I'm pretty sure we've seen where it's missed the bat, so it's not out. The caught is not the catch is no good because it missed the bat. Then the umpire checks for the LBW right after, right? So shouldn't that be a dead ball?
That's very true. That's very true. Yep, and we see that happen quite a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's like, okay, I just literally just thought about that right now. So that's interesting. Let us know in the comments what you think about that situation and how that law or rule should take place. Should we remove it? Should we keep it? Should there be more layers to it? Let us know in the comments.
Yes, yes, and if you're a Lords member, give us credit for bringing it up.
All
Okay,
right.
so yeah, back to the game. Arshdeep crazy over and
Yes.
basically restricting Sri Lanka to 2 runs.
Yeah, 2 runs, and both the dismissals, you can argue it was his game plan to throw it wide and force the batters to reach for the ball rather than put it in the arc. So great performance by him. Sri Lanka only ended up scoring 2, and then out comes Surya and Shubman. I thought Abhishek would come out, but I guess they're resting him for the Super Over for the final.
Interesting. Hey, also interesting selections from both teams. Obviously Abhishek Sharma not being there for the super over. It is what it is. But then again, India only needed 3 runs. What was your actual thoughts on Sri Lanka's sending their batters in? Because seemed like they could have brought in Nisanka, who looked like a great touch, but he was not selected.
I think it was probably because he was tired. He literally batted the whole innings. There was, I think Sanjay was saying, or one of the commentators said it must have come from him. I'm sure
Yes.
team management would have asked him to go bat, and he must have said, "No, I'm like, I just can't." Right, and that happens. Like, you've seen the man scored 100. Like, what more do you need from him? And it happens in cricket where or in life in general, where in the moment you let the adrenaline take you
Yes.
or push through the pain or whatever you're feeling, dehydration, cramps, whatever. But then when you stop doing that task or activity, that's when the body relaxes and then you start feeling it more. So I wonder if it was that, and that's probably why he didn't come out to bat.
No, very fair, very fair. Yeah, it does seem like it should have came from him because anyone could have seen he was in great touch yesterday. So why not continue it? But no, completely agree. When the body does cool down, you lose your focus, you start feeling, your shoulder here and there. So no, totally, totally understand. But yeah, ended up being a very easy chase for Sky. First ball, ran for three. Seemed like it was just a ceremonial at the end, really.
Yeah, yeah. Once India only had to chase three, you knew the game was going to be wrapped up. So unless one Hindu Hasaranga took 2 and 2, which is completely possible. But I think he
Possible.
should have gone. I think he should have gone. It was obvious that he was going to bowl the wrong one. I think he should have gone for the leg spinner, but whatever. Hindsight 2020.
He still needs his IPL contract. I'm just kidding.
That's right. All right. So let's transition to the game where let's talk about Sri Lanka's innings. So obviously a standout performance of Nisanka. What did you think about that innings? I thought it was one of the best hundreds that I've seen.
One of the best hundreds, and I think the commentators were stating that I think this is the third century in Asia Cup history. I think the
Okay.
first one was Virat Kohli. I think Mohammad Rizwan got the second one, or was it Babar Azam? I'm getting a little confused here. But then again, in great, great company. So obviously it's a high task to get, especially in a T20 format, which we know is super tough. It played extremely quick as well, and he was in great touch. And a key moment that stood out for me in his innings was, I believe it was during Harshit Rana's spell. Harshit Rana bowled to him. One of those deliveries where it was a good delivery, so I think he defended it. And then Harshit Rana, doing Harshit Rana things, throws the ball back at the keeper, staring him down. So it is what it is. But the next ball, Harshit Rana steams in, bowls a pretty fast ball. Nisanka steps out and hits him for six and just stares him back. So then
Oh
again,
my gosh.
you gotta give credit where credit's due, and he was literally staring down Harshit Rana, and then Harshit Rana just turned around. So sometimes you gotta let the bat speak, and he did that very well yesterday.
Yeah, it was a phenomenal innings. And his partnership with Kusal Pereira
Yes,
seemed to put the game in Sri Lanka's favor. But you always felt one wicket would change it. And that's usually the case, especially with high chases, sorry, because you have to keep that run rate up.
exactly,
And as soon as Kusal Pereira got out, you could see that India had an opportunity and they sensed they had an opportunity. And it didn't help that Charida Lanka, who's been pretty off this tournament, and he is the captain. He came in and he looked out of sorts completely. Like he looked like he was just trying to swing at anything. And it didn't seem like he had a game plan. And it was a matter of time before he got out.
exactly that. Again, I think Sri Lanka batted above their weight class, and they batted very like it really showed. Even the support staff, even like the coaches during some of the innings were very supportive because Sri Lanka. I think this was probably one of their highest. Well, it's not a successful chase, but one of the highest second innings total that they had ever. So really good for them from any perspective.
Yeah. Let's talk about India's fielding. What is going on? Every single game, it seems to be like getting worse almost.
Exactly. Initially you're especially in the earlier games, you're like, oh, it's the ring of lights, XYZ, it's hard to see.
All I hear is excuses.
All I hear is excuses. You're getting paid good money. You've played in Dubai for years. And if you looked at Sri Lanka's fielding yesterday, Sri Lanka was
Yeah.
really good in the field. They were
Yeah.
guns in the field.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you can't let that be the excuse.
It's one thing to drop catches, and then it's another thing to misfield ground balls.
Well, yes.
Like like there's no excuse for misfeeling. Like, of course, you get the occasional backspin or the variable bounce off of the field or whatever. But like the last ball, for example, that was pretty straightforward. And it's like, are they just rushing through things too much? Is their mind not fully on? I don't know. I don't know. It's a weird thing because generally India is very tight in the field, especially with the ground fielding. And so it's just surprising to see these little lapses and mistakes that they're making, which in a big game can cost them. Yeah, this wasn't a big game, but you can argue that that's one of the reasons why it went down to the wire that it did.
Exactly. But again, so much improvement is needed in the field. One thing that I did want to mention, again, I did not see this. I did read this online that in the last ball, Sanju Samson may have made like a sudden move during the run to make it seem like the ball was coming to his end, kind of doing what like a Dhoni would do to force the
Uh,
dive. So again, I haven't seen that, but we've seen him with Dhoni before. So if he did that, obviously smart thinking from his end. But I did see that commentary online as well. You know those sudden movements behind the stumps, so that
yes, yes.
it's coming. I gotta dive. So you
The
know,
most famous is Kumar Sangakkara's against
yeah,
Pakistan.
sorry, come on, sorry, exactly, exactly. So again, if he had done that, that probably was one of the reasons why India was able to save the game.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna now check the replay on that because I didn't notice Sanju's movements, but that makes sense. Shanaka may have noticed that, and that's why he dived because I don't think there was any reason for him to dive there. Um,
Exactly. Again, read it online, so don't quote me. But hey, do take a look again, guys, and if you see it, comment down below.
okay, India's batting. They put up 202 again. Solid start. Abhishek Sharma again with a 61. I don't know how this guy keeps doing it every single game. Strike rate of 200. I personally wish he didn't play the game so that he saved this for the final. I don't feel good about the final right now,
It's
but I'm just
very
gonna leave it at
uneasy.
that.
It's very uneasy because we know how the story goes. We know we've read this story before where a player is having a phenomenal tournament and he's due for a bad innings. He's due for a mistimed shot. He's due for a mind lapse. But knock on wood, he has not gotten that yet. So we'll see how it goes. But unfortunately, the reality is the law of averages, as we mentioned before, does catch up to you. So it'll be really interesting.
And it catches to you on both sides. Keep in mind, Shaheen Shah Afridi hasn't been having the best tournament. He's been hot and cold, and you never know. He's due a wicket maiden or a double wicket maiden in the first over, like he's done in the past, and I won't be surprised if that happens.
You know what? That's a very fair shout. That's a very fair shout. And I think that is what is leading to so much buildup for this game because let's be real. In cricket, and especially in T20s as well, anything can happen. You could have a great inning, you can have a great spell, but in today's game with Sri Lanka, didn't play well at all, but they had a great innings from Nisanka, so they were back in the game. Similar to the finals as well, Pakistan just haven't been able to find the groove or that player to really push the match forward or win the match for the team. But it's T20, anything can happen.
Yeah, anything can happen in T20. Lots happened in India's middle order, so we finally got India's proper batting lineup. We didn't have. Oh, you don't think so? I feel like we got what we should be getting with India's batting lineup, and everyone came in the positions that they were supposed to.
Yes, in that regard, yes, yes, yes.
And the people who needed to score runs, except for Sky, scored runs.
Yeah, no, very true, very true. And that's what was the reason why they were able to progress above 200 because everyone sort of kept the pace up, batted pretty well. So I totally see what you mean. I, for some reason, not having the best tournament. So then again, hey, hopefully law of averages, and he, for someone who has not performed really well against Pakistan, especially Harris Ralph, it'll be interesting to see how he steps up to the occasion. It's a final, so again, we always mention he is a big game player. So be interesting to see that. And then yeah, again, knock on wood, Tilak Varma playing exceptionally well. And looking again ahead at the final, it is what it is. I'll just say it. But I don't think Tilak Varma has gotten out against Pakistan this entire tournament. So
Wow.
yeah, because he was at the end during the first game. and the second game as well, he had the winning shot. So, he's been in good nick, and again, today's performance as well, 144 strike rate. He's doing what he needs to do.
Yeah, yeah. Tilak's been pretty consistent right through the tournament. The innings that I was happy to see was Sanju's innings because it finally looked like he had some clarity in his batting. He came out there, you saw the Sanju that you've seen of the past with clarity in thought, clean striking, no slogs, just clean, proper cricketing shots. And those three sixes were amazing to watch. And it seemed like the Sanju of old. So hoping that he continues that form into the final.
Exactly, exactly. I know we were missing Shivam Dube, his batting and his bowling. They obviously, did some changes, but hopefully Shivam Dube is in the lineup in the finals as well because even him slotting, I think right before Pandya, when the spinners are still back on, would be really important for Team India.
Were you surprised to see India not make that many changes? Like I was surprised. Bumrah was obvious, but Shivam Dube being left out, sorry, was surprising to me. I thought maybe Hardik Pandya should have been given a rest because he's been playing every game, and it seemed like he picked up something because he didn't. He only bowled one over.
Exactly, exactly. I noticed that as well, and I was really confused why, for example, that change was made for Shivam Dube. We could have just taken our excuse me, Hardik Pandya. Hardik Pandya is going to bowl. Excuse me, Harsharad is going to bowl as well. Yeah, I didn't. I was a little confused by that as well.
Yeah, because you had five bowlers already. You had Arshdeep, Harshit, Akshar, Kuldeep, and Varun. I could argue they should have rested one of the spinners. Okay, it's spinners, sure. They played, no problem. Not as exerting as, let's say, someone like a Hardik who does both.
Yes.
I agree. I would have thought you rest Hardik, you play Shivam Dube, and okay, you only played one over Hardik anyways.
Yeah. No, really confusing. I think Gambhir and the way that his mind works, God knows, really, in my opinion.
All right, cool. So what are you looking forward to for Sunday?
Oh my God. What I'm looking forward to, knock on wood, is India's power play. I
Okay.
think that is gonna be the decider of the match. I think how India progresses in the power play, whether that's in the first innings or they're chasing, is gonna be indicative of the result of the final.
I do believe it is going to be that. The power play is going to be key on both sides, but more so on India's side because
Yes.
that has been the key to India being able to put up strong totals or chase totals well, is that power play and specifically Abhishek Sharma. The battle is going to be amazing. Shaheen versus Abhishek, like that first ball is going to be intense. And I can't wait. I can't wait to see what happens. I can't we can't no one knows what's going to happen and history doesn't always repeat itself. So yeah, it's going to be fantastic.
Hey, what's your call right now in terms of the first ball? Because I know everyone's talking about it. Because in the first match, I think it was a little too full, and I think uh Abhishek Sharma dismissed that for four. Second match, ball was super short. Abhishek hit it for six. Abhishek's gonna go for it. How do you think Shaheen Shah will bowl, especially in the first ball?
I think Shaheen should go for the in swinger to the left-hander, so the which is
Really?
the one that goes across. Yes, I think he should pitch it on off out and just outside off, get it to come in because Abhishek is going to probably expect the one going away from him and he might play the shot to get it over the covers or maybe over mid off. So that's what I think Shaheen should do and just target the stumps and move the ball in. And I think get Abhishek bowled or LBW or even mistime the ball.
Interesting, and interesting. In my perspective, and I see this going, having the rounds on social media. I think probably the only way to get Abhishek Sharma out in the first over is to pull a Mitchell Stark, which is
In
getting
swinging,
no what he did in the IPL, where it looks like it's swinging, and then it basically once it hits the seam, it goes a little bit out
he
and
holds
hits
this line. Okay.
the top of off. If you
Okay.
remember, I
Okay.
think that's what Mitchell Stark did in the IPL when they're playing Kolkata versus Hyderabad, um, where I think it wasn't the first ball. The first few balls were really wide,
Yeah.
out spears, but then the second ball, obviously, line was right there and just hits top of off. And you kind of basically get him playing the inline, but it's It just misses the edge and hits the stumps.
I think that would be a great ball too. It seems like either way, Shaheen's got to target the stumps. I think if
Yes,
he goes outside,
yes.
if he gives him width, he's gonna get smacked.
Exactly that, exactly that. So it'll be really interesting, and I think it's gonna be a blockbuster of a game after all the fines have been settled and all the reprimands have been reprimanded.
Yes, I feel like someone's gonna pull out a performance for the ages, and we can't wait to watch it. We can't wait to bring it to you. Until then, until the big final, that stumps.